Let us pray. Lord Jesus, it is you who wakes me up every day, and I am forever grateful for your love. This is why I pray. You let me touch so many people, and it's all for the good. I influenced so many children. I never thought that I would. And I couldn't take credit for the love they get, because it all comes from you, Lord. I'm just the one that's giving it. And when it seems like the pressure gets to be too much, I take time out and pray, and ask that you be my crutch. Lord, I am not perfect by a long shot, I confess to you daily. But I work hard every day, and I hope that you hear me. In my heart I mean well, but if you'll help me to grow, then what I have in my heart begin to show. And when I get going, I'm not looking back for nothing, because I will know where I'm headed. And I'm so tired of the sun. I stand before you, a weakened version of your reflection, begging for direction, for my soul needs resurrection. I don't deserve what you've given me, but you never took it from me, because I am grateful, and I use it, and I do not worship money. If what you want from me is to bring your children to you, my regret is only having one life to do it instead of two. Amen. In the name of Jesus, let us pray. Father, please walk with us through the bad times as well as the good. May we be heard and understood from the suburbs to the hood. May you judge us by our hearts and not by our mistakes, and see that we get a breakthrough, however long that it takes. May you fill that void in our souls that will lay our fears to rest, because there's no way we can live for Jesus when we're living in the flesh. So I pray that you allow our spirits to be born, grow strong, move on, know right from wrong. 1 John chapter 2 verse 15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. And we know what that means. But listen, we know the distance we need to be away from fire to keep it missing. That doesn't mean we'll listen. Lord, you take care of fools and babies. You teach women to honor their men and men respect their ladies. But lately, so many of us have gone astray, doing wrong for so long that we've forgotten the way. Please bring us back home, instill in us the word which is our backbone. We're just children that act grown. There is so much that we're entitled to, yet we receive so little. Because in this time of spiritual warfare, we're comfortable in the middle. So I pray that you open our eyes, give us the anointing to recognize the devil and his lies. If we keep our actions wise and our prayers sincere, our heads to the sky, you will diminish our fears. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen and amen.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
Well, once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So good luck, okay? Good luck.
You say rock bottom, but like, it just seems like things keep getting worse. What is rock bottom? Who decides what's the bottom of all this? I mean, seriously, you go, okay, today is Friday, and I woke up in Cleveland, and I'm going, how much worse can it get?
still ain't calling. I left my cell, my pager, and my home phone at the bottom. I sent 2 letters back in autumn, you must not have got them. There probably was a problem at the post office or something. Sometimes I scribble addresses too sloppy when I jot them. But anyways, fuck it, what's been up, man? How's your daughter? My girlfriend's pregnant too, I'm about to be a father. If I have a daughter, guess what I'ma call her? I'ma name her Bonnie. I read about your Uncle Ronnie too, I'm sorry. I had a friend kill himself over some bitch who didn't want him. I know you probably hear this every day, but I'm your biggest fan. I even got the underground shit that you did with Scam. I got a room full of your posters and your pictures, man. I like the shit you did with Rockets too, that shit was fat. Anyways, I hope you get this, man. Hit me back, just a chat. Truly yours, your biggest fan. It's a stand. Dear Slim, you still ain't called a road. I hope you have a chance. I ain't mad. I just think it's fucked up you don't answer fans. If you didn't want to talk to me outside the concert, you didn't have to. But you could have signed an autograph for Matthew. That's my little brother, man. He's only 6 years old. We waited in the blistering cold for you for 4 hours and you just said no. That's pretty shitty, man. You're like his fucking idol. He wants to be just like you, man. He likes you more than I do. I ain't that mad, though I just don't like being lied to. Remember when we met in Denver? You said if I write you, you would write back. See, I'm just like you in a way. I never knew my father neither. He used to always cheat on my mom and beat her. I can relate to what you're saying in your songs. So when I have a shitty day, I drift away and put them on. Cause I don't really got shit else. So that shit helps when I'm depressed. I even got a tattoo with your name across the chest. Sometimes I even cut myself to see how much it bleeds. It's like adrenaline. The pain is such a sudden rush for me. See, everything you say is real, and I respect you cause you tell it. My girlfriend's jealous cause I talk about you 24/7. But she don't know you like I know you, Slim. No one does. She don't know what it was like for people like us growing up. You gotta call me, man. I'll be the biggest fan you'll ever lose. Sincerely yours, Stan. P.S. We should be together too. Call and write my fans. This will be the last package I ever send your ass. It's been 6 months and still no word. I don't deserve it. I know you got my last 2 letters. I wrote the addresses on them perfect. So this is my cassette I'm sending you. I hope you hear it. I'm in the car right now. I'm doing 90 on the freeway. Hey Slim, I drank a fifth of vodka. You dare me to drive? You know the song by Phil Collins, In the Air of the Night, about that guy who could have saved that other guy from drowning but didn't? Then Phil saw it all, then at a show he found him. That's kinda how this is. You could've rescued me from drowning, now it's too late. I'm on 1,000 downers now, I'm drowsy. And all I wanted was a lousy letter or a call. I hope you know I ripped all of your pictures off the wall. I love you, Slim, we could've been together. Think about it, you ruined it now. I hope you can't sleep and you dream about it. And when you dream, I hope you can't sleep and you scream about it. I hope your conscience eats at you when you can't breathe without me. See, Slim, shut up, bitch, I'm trying to talk. Hey, Slim, that's my girlfriend screaming in the trunk. But I didn't slit her throat, I just tied her up. See, I ain't like you, cause if she suffocates, she'll suffer more, and then she'll die too. Well, gotta go, I'm almost at the bridge now. Oh shit, I forgot, how am I supposed to send this shit out? But I just been busy. You said your girlfriend's pregnant now. How far along is she? Look, I'm really flattered you would call your daughter that. And here's an autograph for your brother. I wrote it on the starter cap. I'm sorry I didn't see you with the show. I must have missed you. Don't think I did that shit intentionally just to diss you. But what's the shit you said about just like to cut your wrist too? I say that shit just clowning, dog. Come on, how fucked your bitch you? You got some issues, Stan. I think you need some counseling to help your ass from bouncing off the walls when you get down some. And what's this shit about us meant to be together? That type of shit'll make me not want us to meet each other. I really think you and your girlfriend need each other, but maybe you just need to treat her better. I hope you get to read this letter. I just hope it reaches you in time before you hurt yourself. I think that you'll be doing just fine if you relax a little. I'm glad I inspire you, but Stan, why are you so mad? Try to understand that I do want you as a fan. I just don't want you to do some crazy shit. I seen this one shit on the news a couple weeks ago that made me sick. Some dude was drunk and drove his car over a bridge and had his girlfriend in the trunk, and she was pregnant with his kid. And in the car they found a tape, but they didn't say who it was to. Come to think about it, his name was... it was you. Damn.
Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome to episode 298 of the Hoots Podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. It's Thursday, February 24th, 2022. I'm talking to you live at the Good Brother Studio in lovely Chicago, Illinois on this Thursday. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you for giving us a chance. I want you to feel like I'm sitting next to you and we're talking about wrestling and life. And I appreciate every single one of you who've taken the time to enjoy this crazy thing that we call the Hoots Podcast for the last 6 years. And we're 2 episodes away from reaching episode 300, which will be taking place on March 10th, 2022. A lot of anniversaries around that time period. March 9th will be... March 9th will be the 25th anniversary of the unfortunate death of my favorite rapper, Notorious B.I.G. I'm going to honor big on that episode 300, of course. And lots of wrestling-wise, you know, I got my start in my broadcasting career at the Illinois Media School around that time period. So it's coming full circle, you know. I'm very excited. And I got a cool announcement that I'm going to share with the podcast with everybody on that episode about the future of the show. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And, you know, we go through these periods of taking on projects where you've been doing it for 4 years or 5 years or how many years. You get a point to you start like taking a step back and reflecting on if this is something you still want to do. And I take a lot of pride in what I've done with this podcast. I take a lot of pride with what I've done with my transcripts. And I appreciate every single one of you who've ever taken the time to enjoy this show for what it was. So let's get into it. Shall we? Really quick for plugs, you can follow me on Twitter if you want at Josh Lopez Media. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Joshie Lopez 94. That's Joshie Lopez 94 on Instagram. If you want to see do some guitar covers, check out Josh Lopez Music as well. Also, if you could do me a favor, please bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. Check out my play-by-play articles. I think you'll enjoy it. I am covering the New Japan Cup, so you guys will get to see that coverage there. And also, don't forget, if you want to participate in episode 300, all you have to do is to send us a audio shout-out or congratulations in an MP3 file. Send those to TheHootsPodcast@gmail.com, which is also the same email address you could use if you want to ask your boy a question, a la the Good Brothers Q&A session, which we do each and every single week. It's one of my favorite segments of the show because we get to interact with you guys, and I appreciate those who take the time to ask questions. So we're going to get into it. All right. First off, as per ritual, got the good brother Chris Saletta at XTeamSaletta24X on Twitter. He says, do you think Becky and Bianca will main event on one of the nights of WrestleMania? There's a lot of things up in the air. I'm not opposed to that being one of the closing matches of the show. I just depends on where you want to put certain matches. Do you want to do Ronda and Charlotte on the same night as Roman and Brock? Do you want to do vice versa, Becky and Bianca on the same show as Roman Reigns? I'm glad you asked that because in the WWE segment this week, you guys, you're gonna hear me basically map out how I would structure the WrestleMania card this year, and I think you guys might like it. So it's a good question. For me, Chris, I'm not opposed to having Becky and Bianca close out one of the nights of WrestleMania. And hell, let's call it what it is. Bianca has, in my opinion, become the boss of the WWE. So that's my opinion. Next question for Chris. He says, do you think we'll ever get a fatal four-way between the four horsewomen? I certainly hope so. When that happens, I'll leave it up to when they want to do it. I mean, you could do it at SummerSlam in Nashville this year. You could do it at WrestleMania in LA. That'd be a nice feature attraction for that show. You can do it whatever you want. I would hope so, but you also have a person in that contingent that's kind of a head case, and her fan base takes the fun out of her character and what she could be. So I'll leave it up to them. Thoughts on the Eddie Edwards heel turn? I mentioned before I was not interested in the Honor No More bit with Impact Wrestling. Impact is kind of in the same boat with AEW, where I want to enjoy your product for your talent and what your company is. And this whole forbidden door concept is something that I just don't get, because it doesn't really benefit the other promotions that you're working with. Yeah, you get a nice little 5-star match here and there, but 5-star matches don't draw anything in business, and I feel like it's not benefiting the other promotions with this concept. But hey, a lot of these wrestling companies are relying on the scuttlebutt and discussion on Twitter, and a lot of people in the wrestling industry thinks that Twitter is the only way to gauge on what's over or not. So what do I know? Should Taker be the only inductee for the Hall of Fame this year? I think so. I'm kind of selfish with that fact, with the fact that Undertaker is my personal favorite character of all time. But I think for me, I'll leave it up to Taker if he's okay with that. I don't know how many people you're going to add to the class if they want to do that, but I totally understand the thought, and it makes a lot of sense that Taker is one of those performers that supersedes a quantity of a Hall of Fame class, and this is something they want to do. I'd be all for it. Who would be your pick to win the New Japan Cup? Oh man, Chris, you got to hit me with the tough one, man. Oh man, it's up there. We have 48 people in the New Japan Cup this year. 48 people. So I don't know, bro. I really don't know. It's a toss-up for me. Anybody can win. Hell, guys, Okada is in the New Japan Cup. All the current champions outside of let's see. Nobody in the U.S. has, with the exception of Tom Lawler for New Japan Strong, every single current champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling is in this year's New Japan Cup. So anybody could win it. Hell, Kota Ibushi's back. Kota Ibushi's coming back. So, you know, it's up in the air. I have three favorites for me. It's either going to be Shingo, Kota Ibushi, or Will Ospreay. But if I have to pick one, I'll go with Kota Ibushi due to the fact of what happened in the finals of last year's G1. And I think they would want to have that match with Okada and Ibushi to make up for what happened, because we had an awesome match going, and then unfortunately Ibushi got injured, and it kind of put plans in a different direction. So I think for me, I would love to see Ibushi get in there and win the thing. I think it'd be pretty cool. All right, next question. So getting weird things here on StreamYard. Last question for Chris. He says, where does GOD go after Saturday's events at No Surrender? Well, color me shocked. We got another heel turn in the most bipolar faction in the history of professional wrestling. So Jay White decided, because now he's working with the Young Fucks and Brandon Cutlet, now he has to turn on the entertaining portion of Bullet Club. So let's break this down, shall we? We got the Hardy Boys, Brandon Cutlet and Adam Cole, now with Jay White, right? And the Goof Brothers. You have, I can't forget Chris Bay. Chris Bay's associated with them too. So he's a stooge and a con. We got GOD, Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, and Jado. That's two. Then you got by far the shittiest faction in professional wrestling today, the House of Torture. So we got 3 subgroups and subdivisions of Bullet Club, and all of them suck as far as I'm concerned. Please, for the love of God, end all of this. No, I don't care that Adam Cole and Hangman Page is leading up to having the return of Kenny Olivier going for the AEW title. I really don't care about that. I really don't. People could mark out for the Bullet Club, but I think that idea, that concept, all of it is outdated and needs to stop. So I don't know where you go here with God, because they were the actual entertaining part of Bullet Club, at least the Bullet Club that matters. So I know Tama Tonga said that he's not done with New Japan. Hell, him and Tonga Loa are in the New Japan Cup this year. So I wouldn't get your hopes of expecting them to show up at Revolution or Double or Nothing. I think they're going to spend some time in Japan, and we'll see where things go from there. Maybe possibly they could show up and have a match with them at All Out. I don't know. The only intriguing part of this whole scenario after that turn at No Surrender was God. It's Jay White turning on God does. I feel bad for Jay White. He should not be associating himself with the Hardley Boys and Brandon Cutler and the Goof Brothers. Like, Jay White is above each and every single one of them, and Olivier. So I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. It really is. Awesome questions this week, Chris. I appreciate you, bro. I hope you had a good time at the Mudshow known as AEW Dynamite. All right, next batch of questions for the good brother Nathan Glate. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Psycho Nigiri. He says, what do you hope to see from Sonata's U.S. title reign? Well, Nate, I just want to see the same good matches and quality matches that Sonata's had in tournaments like a New Japan Cup or the G1. I just want that quality of competition for him. You know, him having maybe a rematch down the road with Tanahashi would be cool. Or, you know, who knows if Sonata makes his way to the U.S. and performs at the Windy City Bright Show, which I'll be attending. That'd be pretty cool. If not, you know, there's a lot of guys on the roster, you know, maybe have Sonata against Ishii, have Sonata against Evil. They have a history with each other. Sonata against Hiromu, you know, something like that. Maybe somebody LIJ, or you got Sonata against the Great Khan, or Sonata against a lot of people. I just want to see some good quality matches out of them. And, you know, the U.S. title has kind of replaced the IC title that used to be in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, you know, I just want to see some good quality matches with Sonata, and I think we'll get that for sure. That's a good question, though. In 5 years from now, which title will be more fondly looked upon, TNT or North American? I'll say TNT because North American title is only associated with the third brand of WWE. It doesn't have the amount of reach that with a mid-card title that's associated with a different company. It's not like AEW has separate shows, so it's kind of hard to compare it. I don't compare the I don't compare the TNT title to NXT titles. I compare those titles to IC and US titles. So who knows? Maybe before you know it, the TBS title has more stock than the TNT title. It just all depends on how it's executed, just with anything in professional wrestling. It's not a bad question. I just think for me, I don't really compare AEW titles with NXT titles. I just don't look at it that way. This is an interesting question. How are you doing on this fine week? Bro, I'm glad you asked. I'm doing good. I'm really happy. I'm in a good place. I'm just really excited for this 300th episode and just taking things one day at a time and just focusing on what I need to focus on. You know, a lot of stuff's gone down with me in the last year, and I've had a lot of time to reevaluate and kind of go oversee on how I've been handling certain situations and how I go about certain things. And this process, you know, growing up and living on your own, and a lot of stuff's going on in my life. But there's a lot of good that's going on in my life. I rarely have anything to really complain about. I'm very fortunate for the fact that I get to cover wrestling for a living, and this is how I pay my bills. And I'm very happy with the content that we've been able to pump out here with the Hoots podcast and, of course, ProWrestlingTranscripts.com. And I'm just really excited. It's WrestleMania season. I'm really excited to get more information about where I'm sitting for WrestleMania because, for those who don't know, I bought a travel package for WrestleMania this year for the first time. I bought one of those WrestleMania travel packages, and I'm curious to see what seats I got. I think I got some good ones. I didn't get the lowest tier of the ones that are offering, but I got a pretty good deal, and I'm pretty excited to be in Dallas for the first time. I'm going to be down there from April 1st to the Tuesday, the 5th. So I'm very excited for that. Outside of that, your boy's in good spirits. I have no distractions. I saw something on Facebook today, and it was a good reminder that I avoided a trap. A girl that I dated a few years ago posted that she's pregnant. And I would like to say congratulations to her and the dude, and a little pat on my back because I avoided the trap. So all in all, I'm in good spirits, my man. Trust me, nothing's really facing me right now. I'm in a good spot, so I appreciate you asking me that. Hope you're having a good week too. Last question for the Q&A this week. Would you rather see KO fight Stone Cold or in a tag title match at WrestleMania? Well, if it's not going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin showing up at WrestleMania, I have no problem with it being, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens against RK Bro at WrestleMania. I think that'd be a good match. If not, maybe something screwy finish happens in this upcoming triple threat match, and that match becomes the title match at WrestleMania. There's a lot of things that are up in the air right now as far as WrestleMania, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And it keeps you on your toes, so you don't really know what the WrestleMania card is going to look like. But if it was up to me, if I had my druthers, it would be Stone Cold fighting Kevin Owens. That would be my pick. So I appreciate you, Nate and Chris, for sending questions this week, man. We appreciate it as always. As always, if you want to participate in the Good Brothers Q&A session, all you have to do is send me a question to @JoshLopezMedia or TheHootsPodcast@gmail.com. On that note, when we come back, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the Elimination Chamber and map out the card for WrestleMania 38. Right here on the Hoots Podcast. Don't forget, we got What the Hell is Wrong with AEW and a lengthy edition of the Thoughts of Dericho this week, mostly focusing on the Wrestling Observer Awards. So sit back, strap it down, relax, and get some agua, get yourself some waterfall, and enjoy episode 298 of the Hoots Podcast. We'll be right back.
The first WrestleMania that I was brought to as a talent was WrestleMania 14. That's how old I am. Thank you. I love you too. Oh man, it's good to be back. So it took me 2 more years to get on the show, to get on WrestleMania. So I knew I finally got a match on WrestleMania. I got to throw caution to the wind. I need to take every chance and have the kind of performance that will elevate my career for the rest of my career. And at WrestleMania 17, against 2 of the greatest tag teams of all time, in a TLC match, on possibly the greatest show of all time, we stole the show. And I'm thinking about you, Devon. Now, WrestleMania 21, I won the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. WrestleMania 22, I put Mick Foley through a flaming table and stole the show again. WrestleMania 24, main event against The Undertaker. WrestleMania 27, I fought what I thought was my last match, forced to retire as the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, for a lot of people, that would be enough. Not for me. So I busted my ass for 10 years to get WrestleMania back. And last year, I main evented it again. I need WrestleMania. And they're calling WrestleMania 38 the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania in history. But you can't call WrestleMania stupendous without me. And as much as I need WrestleMania, WrestleMania needs Edge. So I am throwing down the gauntlet. I am laying this challenge out to everyone in that locker room. I need someone to step up. You want to prove yourself? You stand across the ring at WrestleMania against the man who is still the best in this industry today. A certifiable legend. You fight me at WrestleMania, and I'll make you live forever. So step up, boys. I'll be waiting.
All right, boys and girls, back here for the Hoots Podcast. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. Get ready to go over what happened for the Elimination Chamber. And in this segment, I'm going to be giving you my layout of what I would do with both nights of the WrestleMania card. So this should be pretty interesting, to say the least. First off, we'll start off with the Elimination Chamber. I thought the show was enjoyable for what it was. I thought it hit the points it needed to hit as far as like what storylines they want to push going forward for WrestleMania. But you also could say this was a paint-by-numbers show in regards to just general Saudi premium live events. I thought, for the most part, I thought it was good. There wasn't anything that I thought was overly great, but I didn't think there was anything that was overly terrible. I think it was interesting that they had the poor Viking Raiders go out, fly away out there just to get their ass whooped and not even have their match start. But, you know, and stuff like that, you know, they'll get their title shot hopefully at WrestleMania. I think that'd be cool. Let's see how that plays out. Who knows? Maybe like it's kind of similar to the Bludgeon Brothers when it's like they got the tag titles and it ended up being the Bludgeon Brothers, New Day. There was a couple other tag teams, like a Fatal 4-Way tag match. I could see that possibly happening at WrestleMania this year. Let's leave it up in there until we get to that part of the segment. Anyways, as far as the Elimination Chamber is concerned, no surprise whatsoever what went down with the Tribal Chief and Goldberg. Roman Reigns sent Goldberg to the gulags. He Goldberg. That guillotine choke was locked in, pal, and it's like I said earlier, it served its purpose in what it needed to be from what they were going for. So I had no doubts that Roman Reigns was going to retain. I kind of chuckled the fact that people thought he was actually going to lose. So Roman Reigns is still your tribal chief. He's still the reigning, defending, undisputed, uncontroverted WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. By the way, shout out to the ladies in the women's Elimination Chamber match. I thought it was really good. I know the show had a hard time out, that they really were going through the time really quick with a lot of matches. They wanted a quick out here, and that's fine. I didn't think this premium live event needed to be 4 hours long or anything like that, but I thought this match was good. You know, great to see Alexa Bliss back in the ring. I always felt like Alexa Bliss is very underrated for what she does inside the ring because of her character. But also I give nods to her because here's the thing where I put over and acknowledge the real good performance in the industry. There's a lot of wrestling out there, and there's a lot of different wrestling styles, and we all have our preferences, right? But if you could have a wrestling style that placates to your character, I feel like you're on another level as an entertainer or just a general performer in this industry. And Alexa Bliss is one of those performers. It's one of the reasons why I put over Charlotte Flair, because her wrestling style placates to her character. You have a lot of wrestlers that do a lot of moves, but do they resemble what their character represents? I mean, how many high flyers can you tell as those separate each other? You know, there's only one Rey Mysterio, so there's a lot of guys that I feel like try to rip them off and do a lot of similar stuff and similar moves. But do you resonate with them? Does their wrestling in the ring make you feel anything? Does their wrestling make you remind you of their character work, you know? So I was glad to see Alexa Bliss back in, and she looked really good in the ring. Rhea Ripley's, again, another tremendous performance. And Bianca Belair right now is just clicking on all cylinders, and she's on another level. You know, a lot of people could call themselves bosses and the blueprints and the standards and blah, 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 blah. But, by the way, aren't bosses supposed to show up to work? That's another discussion for another time. So Bianca Belair did win the Elimination Chamber match. She'll be fighting Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. By the way, shout out to her and Becky. I enjoyed their little promo segment that went into Raw this past Monday. I thought it was very good. You had the story there. Becky's saying that she's the victim because she showed up at SummerSlam and everybody turned on her because she beat Bianca in the way she did. And this is a redemption story. Yeah, you can call it predictable, but I knew this match was going to go down when that moment happened. So, you know, don't say that WWE doesn't do long-term storytelling. I just feel like a lot of people overbook things and try to over-fancy book and analyze things. So when things go down, it's not into their vision. So they assume that's wrong instead of actually paying attention to the tea leaves and the plot points that go into these journeys, you know. And I'm very excited for that match. I think it's going to be fantastic. Becky has been putting on some really good performances in the ring. Speaking of the Elimination Chamber, I thought her and Lita had a very, very good match. Shout out to Lita. You know, she's a legend, and I was very happy for her. You can see the emotion on her face and the body language after the match is over and the crowd giving her that reception. So I thought that was pretty cool. The Madcap Moss, Drew McIntyre Falls Count Anywhere match was better than I expected it to be. Very physical hoss fight. My thoughts go out to Riddick Moss. Hopefully he's feeling better and safe and stuff like that. There's some really nasty spots in that match. Finally, we get to the men's. By the way, I want to mention this really quick. The Miz Rey Mysterio match in the kickoff show was really good. I just want to throw that out there. Let's go to this next part. The men's chamber match was really interesting. You know, whatever's going on with Bobby Lashley, I don't know. I'm not in the dirt sheets. Some people say that he needs to get soldier surgery on Twitter. Some people are saying he's having a concussion. I don't know what's going on. But if that was the way they wanted to write Bobby out without making him look bad, in the way Brock Lesnar just wiped out everybody when he got inside the chamber, I can understand the angle where they're going with there. If anybody thought that Brock Lesnar was going to lose his first Elimination Chamber match with his MMA background, I just think you're lying to yourself. You can be mad. You don't have to be a Brock Lesnar fan, but don't tell me it doesn't make sense in the way that Brock Lesnar won and dominated everybody in the chamber. It's his first Elimination Chamber match. You know, people were going about the soapbox a couple years ago when Shayna Baszler came in and just wiped out everybody really quickly and won the chamber match. Sometimes I feel perception reality, and then sometimes I don't feel that way. But you mean to tell me that Brock Lesnar is going to be in this drag-out fight in his first chamber match when he had all this time in USC? I mean, some of you really need to be realistic, guys. I'm just being honest. You got to be realistic in how you view this stuff. It's not about everything having to be drag out 45-minute, 55-minute barn burners like New Japan. And I love New Japan. It's my favorite company that's out there. But you have to be realistic in how you view some of this stuff. If you really thought that Brock Lesnar, A, was not going to win, and B, not dominate inside the chamber, I don't know what to tell you. And here's the thing. We're in this era of, you know, everybody kicking out of their finish. Everybody's like, oh, I can't believe just takes one F5 to lay out AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. It should. Your finisher should lay out your opponent, kind of like the End of Days lays out opponents. Why do you think anybody hasn't kicked out? Because Baron Corbin protects the integrity of his finish. You should look back in the days where you had fucking Dick Slater doing a flying double axe handle in Mid-South in the NWA, winning matches that way. Or there was matches that ended in body slams. Think about that. So, overall, like I said, I wouldn't say this premium live event was anything great or horrible. I thought it was a solid show, and I thought it served its purpose of what they wanted to promote for WrestleMania. My biggest takeaway for the show was Bianca Belair is a star, and then some. So I am all on the EST bandwagon train. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the tag match with Charlotte Flair, Sonya Deville, and Ronda Rousey and Naomi. I thought that was pretty dope, too. I thought that was a good match. Let me take a quick swig of water really quick. Get to a little bit of Raw. You guys heard the Edge clip in the beginning of the segment from this past week's Monday Night Raw. I love hearing Edge cut promos. He's the fucking man. I will say there's a lot of scuttlebutt about who Edge is going to fight at WrestleMania this year. You have a lot of theories. I've heard takes from other people from other podcasts, which we'll play in a couple of minutes, as far as who will fight who at WrestleMania, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to talk really quick about just some stuff that went down on Monday, because I thought this past Monday's Raw was really, really good. It was from Columbia, South Carolina. Show started off with the Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman segment. I thought, for me, it looked like the angle they're going with is that Brock Lesnar is a little bit a step ahead of Paul Heyman, which is an interesting twist because, it's always Paul Heyman pulling the strings. So I thought that was good. There were some really good matches on the show, like Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. I thought that was really good. Tommaso Ciampa and Finn Balor against the Dirty Dogs was good. By the way, shout out to Tommaso and Dolph Ziggler for putting on the barn burner on NXT this past Tuesday as well. We found out the announcement of Miz TV that it'll be Miz and Logan Paul taking on the Mysterio family. Look, I don't know anything about Logan Paul. I don't follow his YouTube work. I know about his brother and all the outlaw gimmick boxing events they put together and stuff like that, and more power for them for their hustle ability and their entrepreneurship, if you will. I'm not going to come here and shit on it. Celebrities have always been part of the history of WrestleMania. WrestleMania is not Wrestle Kingdom. It's not even Bound for Glory. It's not any of those major pro wrestling marquee events. This is a different spectacle on a different stratosphere. And, celebrities are always been and always will be part of WrestleMania. And I don't have a problem with it. Just like I didn't have a problem with Bad Bunny was there last year, and I got to see him in person with my guys, Drew and Blake. And we were all surprised, but, while Bad Bunny was also stealing the show, we were also giving our flowers to The Miz, because The Miz is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. I don't care what anybody says. Professional wrestler. Those two terms, those two words are very distinct in their own nature. And I don't think Logan Paul could be in a better position right now than who he's working with at WrestleMania right now. You got The Miz and Rey Mysterio. I'll tell you right now, Bad Bunny would not do what he did at WrestleMania last year if it wasn't for The Miz and John Morrison. I will say that. I put over the Becky Bianca segment, and then also the Bianca Piper Niven match. I thought it was fantastic. This is another example. Like, names of wrestlers are subjective to me. I really don't care if they change the first name of a performer to something else. For me, I like the action ring. I think the truth of somebody being over is what you do inside of the ring. Sure, promos are important. I'm not saying they're not important, but I don't think they're the end all be all too, because the name of the game is pro wrestling, right? We're all talking about wrestling matches and stuff. I think what you do in the ring is a truth teller, because look at the work that she's doing. Everybody's like, "Oh, I can't believe they're burying Doudrop. I can't believe they're treating her this way. I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they're doing that." You look at her, and I've covered every single match that Piper Niven has done in WWE since she was in NXT UK, and I see nothing different in her wrestling style or her matches besides the fact that, one, she's a heel, and two, her name's Doudrop. Two differences. She still has the same wrestling style. She still puts on good matches. She's still a great performer. That's one of those little things that just annoy me about wrestling fans these days. It's just like, let the product in the ring tell you the truth. Don't let fucking social media or perceptions from dirt sheet sites dictate how you feel about the show. Open your eyes and watch it for yourself. And if you don't enjoy something, that's fine. But don't say you don't like something because somebody else said it, or this is the narrative that everybody wants to run with because we want to be cool and we want to be in cliques and stuff in wrestling fans. I just think that stuff's lame, And then the show closed off with RK Bro against Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. Very good match. Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens won. They'll be inserted to the Raw Tag Team title match that will be taking place in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a triple threat match. Should be very interesting because you'll see what the Raw Tag Team title picture will look like going into WrestleMania. And who knows, maybe a grudge match spews out of that triple threat as well. So overall, I thought it was a good overall week for WWE. I am curious to see what goes down tomorrow for SmackDown in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That should be a lot of fun. And Brock Lesnar's going to be there. I'm glad to see my guy Pat McAfee is going to be back on commentary this week. It's been 2 weeks, so glad to hear him and Cole do their thing. So I thought it was a good, solid week overall for WWE. Let's get to what I've been teasing on Twitter over the last couple days, and let's do this. I'm going to challenge myself to, actually do the WrestleMania card. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to challenge myself to set up the actual WrestleMania card for WrestleMania 38. I want to give a shout out to my guy Andrew Baydala. Make sure to follow his work. He does a lot of great stuff. He's really into with the ticket side of the wrestling industry and general tickets in general. Drew's a great brother of mine, and I appreciate his insight and stuff like that. So I put it out there, and he sent me his submission of what the 2 nights of WrestleMania would look like. And you guys could participate in this as well. You can send it to me at Josh Lopez Media, or you could comment down below in the video chat box in our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the TheHootsPodcast. Or you could also check it out on Apple Podcasts and let us know what matches you think will go down for WrestleMania 38. So here's Drew's picks from night 1. RK Bro against Alpha Academy against DIY in a triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles. Sonya Deville against Naomi. AJ Styles against Edge. Sami Zayn against Johnny Knoxville for the IC title. Trish Stratus and Lita against Bayley and Sasha. Against Carmella and Zelina Vega for the women's title. We got Bianca Belair. Drew has this a triple threat match. That's interesting. Bianca Belair against Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, and then main event for night 1 is Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. Okay, that's the first one. For night 2, he has Drew McIntyre and a partner against Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. Usos, Viking Experience, and the New Day. Miz and Logan Paul against the Mysterios. Ronda and Charlotte. Brock and Roman, Priest, Balor, and this one was one I was really intrigued by. Seth Rollins against Cody Rhodes. Okay, so I want you guys to write this down. You guys can hold me to it. This is Joshie's WrestleMania card for WrestleMania 38. Let's start off with night number 1. Started off big and started off hot. Edge against AJ Styles. Let's start off with that. Okay? I think there's going to be either 7 or 8 matches for both shows. Okay? So, on here, Drew has 7 and... yeah, he has 7 for both nights. So, I can see that as well. So, I'm going to start off big. Edge and AJ Styles for Monday Night Raw starts off night 1 to kick off the show. Following that, I have... I'm going to do the Usos. You know, I'll say the Usos for night 2. I'll say that for night 2. Let's flip it up. Okay. It's not easy, guys, so bear with me. Yeah, so I got Edge and AJ Styles going first. Drew McIntyre against Baron Corbin in a last man standing match. That's 2. 3. I'm going to go with third match of the show. I'll probably go with Naomi and Sonya Deville. I see that going down. Let's see. I should have wrote this down. Let's flip the script. Let's restart again, okay? All right, night 1. Edge and AJ Styles, number 1. Match number 2. Go Drew McIntyre and Baron Corbin in whatever stipulation match it will be. Match number 3, gonna go with the Demon Balor against Damian Priest. So I'm gonna keep that to night 1. 4. 4 is gonna be interesting here. I think for me, I'll go with the Street Profits against the Dirty Dogs against the Alpha Academy. I think it'd be a triple threat that way. 5, we'll go with the Mysterios and Logan Paul against Miz and Logan Paul against the Mysterios. Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, and then Stone Cold and Kevin Owens to cap off night 1. Night number 2. We'll go starting off hot with let's see. Who do I want to start night 2 with? Let's do this. Let's do Usos, Viking Raiders, and the New Day. And, you know, you can add Los Lotharios there too as well. So that'll be a fatal 4-way. Following that, I got Sami Zayn against Cesaro for the IC title. Johnny Knoxville will accompany Cesaro to the ring. That'd be my guess. Either Cesaro or Ricochet, I can see being added to it because you always see Sami Zayn popping up in the background, these backstage sessions with Ricochet. It could be Ricochet. It could be Ricochet with Johnny Knoxville against Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. So I got that going. Match number 3, Matt Riddle against Randy Orton. That's a big match there that I'm doing. Following that, number 4, Bianca Belair against Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title. Okay. Number 5, we'll do Naomi against Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville puts her power on the line for manager spot, so I have that going there. And then number 6, I'll go with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. I agree with you, Drew. I do think that Cody will fight Seth Rollins if he does show up at the pay-per-view. And then, of course, wrap it up with the Tribal Chief. Yeah, the Tribal Chief, Brock Lesnar, for night number 2. So those are my picks. Curious to hear yours. If you have any disagreements, I'll be curious to keep it respectful. I guess just to recap, those are the ones I have. So, yeah, so WrestleMania should be interesting. It's not easy. I don't envy wrestling promoters for setting up cards and stuff like that, especially a 2-night event. But those are the ones off the top of my head that I would do in order for both nights of WrestleMania. So I'm curious to get your responses. And then let's do this. Talk a little bit about NXT UK. We have today we have Mustache Mountain against Oliver Carter and Ashton Smith for the NXT UK Tag Team titles on the line this week. It should be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to that. And then you got Rohan Raja against Danny Jones on the docket today. And they're doing a little celebration on Miko Satomura and her current historic title reign in NXT UK. And there's some good things down the line for NXT UK. I heard that Nathan Frazier, the trainee of Seth Rollins, he's gunning for that NXT UK title from Ilya Dragunov. I think that'd be a barn burner. That'd be fantastic. Looks like the rivalry with Jordan Devlin and Gallus is going to heat up, so we'll probably see another match with him and Joe Coffey. I hope sooner or later we get a potential takeover for NXT UK because they deserve it. It's been a long time since we had that real NXT UK crowd. So I think the brand deserves it. I say it all the time. NXT UK is my favorite brand of the WWE. It's a fun show to check it out. So on that note, that is what happened this week in WWE. A little longer one, but I wanted to do that little fantasy bookie session of how I set up the WrestleMania card. With that being said, it's time to give the people what they want, what they've been waiting for. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting one. Another restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. We're going to start it off with the Director of Operations and all of royalty, Sir Jericho, in a 3, 2, 1.
Beat your meat, 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 beat your meat.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
What the hell is wrong with AEW? You know, as I was watching the show this week, one simple thought entered my mind. The good is really good, and the bad is really bad. Oh my God, was the bad this week. But the good was pretty darn good. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the things that I enjoyed first on Dynamite this week. Damn. MJF is so good. He is way too good for AEW. That was a brilliant promo. His acting was phenomenal. Very, very, very well done. I loved every bit of his promo. It was just terrific. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When his career is over, MJF is going to go down as one of the best of all time. And last night, to me, just even heightened that. After that promo last night, he can do it all. Now, I think he does need to work on his in-ring game a little bit, but if he can get some further development in-ring, his promo skills, no problem. He's got it. Work on his in-ring skills. He's going to go down as one of the best of all time. That was terrific. Very cool entrances from the Kings of the Black Throne and Penta Oscuro, which he's going by now, Fine, I can get by that. That's cool. Kind of like bringing out the alter ego demon, like Finn Balor did with the demon. Cool, no problem with that. I thought that was terrific. Decent match with Ricky Starks and 10 of the Dark Order, but I just wish we would see more of Ricky Starks wrestle. He's very good, but you don't ever see him on Dynamite because the talent roster is oversaturated, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Man, Jade Cargill has such a great look. If she got some proper in-ring training in NXT or WWE, she could be even more of a megastar. Jade Cargill has got an it factor, no doubt. Can you imagine her with Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch? I think that could be some terrific stuff. Probably won't happen for any time soon, but Jade Cargill is fantastic. And Bryan Danielson is so good in the ring. He made Daniel Garcia look fantastic. A lot of people say he's probably the best technical wrestler in the world today, and it's hard to argue with that. Bryan Danielson is the man. Okay. And now let's get with the crap. And oh boy, was there a lot of crap. Okay, so we start with this Battle Royal with some of the most planned and predictable spots possible as the match goes on. When the dude is standing there by the ropes with his back turned, you know he's going to get thrown over. And AEW did that like 2 or 3 times. We had these stupid eliminations with the Blade and the Gun Club. Matt Hardy looks like such an idiot at ringside. He's just standing there like a moron. And we're going along, and finally, Orange Cassidy is back, which makes everything better, said no one ever. And he does this thing, and he saves Trent Beretta or whatever, fine. I will say, I did like how the final 6 were all single members of their team. That made it a little bit more interesting. So I thought that was kind of cool. I actually liked that. And in a shocking turn of events, the Elite is moving on. The EVPs and their friends are putting themselves over. And, of course, it ends with a stupid, useless post-match brawl, which even John Silver got involved with. Okay, so, whatever, the Elite's beating down Silver. Here comes Adam Page. Then Adam Page starts cutting this promo, which was actually a decent promo, I liked it. But Bobby Fish is a moron. You know, he's just sitting there rebutting. His rebuttals during Adam Page's promo were just terrible. I did not like any part of this opening segment. I just thought, except for the promo at the end, I thought this was all so stupid. Tag match with the Kings of the Black Throne versus Pac and Penta Oscuro, which I actually thought was quite a good match. Though I'm pretty sure that the referee gave a fast count to end the match, because as we know, AEW referees are incompetent. Okay, I love the Kings of the Black Throne. But then we get a debuting Buddy Matthews, and he's going to go down as another ex-WWE talent who's going to fade into obsolescence after his debut. Look at Keith Lee. Where has Keith Lee been, and what has he done since his debut? Nothing. The roster is too oversaturated, and there isn't enough TV time for everybody. Look at Ricky Starks. When was the last time we saw Ricky Starks on Dynamite? And I'm sorry, I don't watch Rampage because I don't have time. Like, there's too much wrestling content out there. The only show I really... Honestly, with my schedule, if I'm being honest, the only show I regularly watch every week is Dynamite for our segment. I don't even have a ton of time to watch Raw or SmackDown, hardly, but that'll pick up soon. But the point is, I don't have time to watch Rampage, so I don't have time to watch this second show of all of this talent. And I ain't going to watch Dark or Elevation. Hell no. So I just don't understand what AEW's booking strategy is with all this talent. They're going to have to release some talent at some point. The money's going to run out. I'm telling you. Hey, but yeah, so Buddy Matthews, while I'm happy he has a job, I like Buddy Matthews. I thought he got a raw deal in WWE, but he's going to be another ex-WWE talent that's going to fade into obscurity before long. Okay, Eddie Kingston, Chris Jericho promo. Why does the Eddie Kingston promo have to start with a shot at WWE? Oh, wait, that's the formula for promos. Calling it wrestling versus sports entertainment. Now, I know that Paul Heyman did that about 20 years ago in his promo with Vince McMahon, that famous Vince McMahon promo before, I think it was Survivor Series or Invasion or whatever the pay-per-view was. I don't remember. But, like, if they just did it once in a while, fine. But every major promo, it seems, they take a shot at WWE. Whatever. The material in itself was fine, but I just don't understand what the purpose of this feud is. And is Jericho a heel now? I thought Jericho was a face trying to bring the inner circle back together. What is the point of this feud? I don't care about it. Jericho is not the top guy in AEW. He hasn't been for a long time, so I don't know what kind of crap he's smoking. I just don't understand this feud. I am not interested in this pay-per-view at all, except for one match, which is the MJF Punk match. But this is not getting me excited for this pay-per-view. Man, the internal struggle within the Elite is riveting television, pal. Ugh. Why does the Bunny get a TBS title match? She can't even get a damn television entrance, and you're going to expect me to believe she's going to win the TBS title? And why does AEW feel the need to throw out useless Matt Hardy and smart Mark Sterling in a match that is completely lopsided to begin with? You knew Jade Cargill was going to get the win. So here comes Matt Hardy to try to help the Bunny, and smart Mark Sterling get involved, and stupid Aubrey Edwards, who's as useless as ever, throws them both away from ringside in a match that just that didn't need it, because, again, we knew what was going to happen at the beginning. And now we're going to get a random feud with Ty Conti for some reason. I mean, fine, I like Ty Conti. And now all of a sudden she's going to get a match at Revolution. And this leads into Danielson versus Moxley at Revolution. You know, Danielson had a great match with Daniel Garcia, and then Moxley comes out and they announce their match. I feel like the build for this pay-per-view has been, oh shit, we have a pay-per-view in 2 weeks. We should probably get some matches together. That's really what this feels like to me. And I have no interest in this pay-per-view except for MJF versus CM Punk. I couldn't care about Revolution, and I couldn't give a damn about this company. What the hell is wrong with AEW?
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
All right. Shout out to Brother Carter. What's going on, guys? Get ready to give you the Joshie portion of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, aka What Isn't Wrong with AEW. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to discuss, and next week will be our predictions special for AEW Revolution. Kind of like the fact that, as we get this countdown to episode 300, that we have big shows to talk about instead of having it be in a regular week. So, with that being said, I would not call Revolution a big show. Yes, I get it. It's a pay-per-view for WWE. Not for WWE. I should call it WWE because that's what this week's edition of Dynamite felt like. But nonetheless, I would say that while, yes, Dynamite is a big show and Revolution is a big pay-per-view on their schedule, does it really feel that way to you? Are you more incentivized to purchase this pay-per-view after watching this episode of Dynamite? That's my question for you guys. I got a piece of audio that I want to play first and start off with the good stuff. And there's been a lot of discussion. I seen this morning that Seltzer claimed that this promo from MJF was the best promo in wrestling in 20 years. I have some thoughts on that, but first I want you to hear from MJF first.
You know, I never outcasted kid at school who was getting bullied.
Wait, let's start that over. Let's move it back a little bit. Let's do this.
I packed my bags, I got in my car, and I made a promise to myself that day. I made a promise that I was going to become the best in the world in spite of CM Punk. I made a promise that whatever outcasted kid at school who was getting bullied, had me to watch on his TV screen, and I made a promise that I wasn't going to leave him high and dry, just like you did, Punk. You gutless coward. At Revolution, March 6th, you can choke me with the chain. You can whip me with the chain. You can make me bleed buckets. But I will not quit. Because if I quit, then I'd be no better than you. And we all know that's not the case. Because my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And I'm better than you. And you know it!
The aforementioned Mr. Punk, making his 5 kids, a couple of them had ADD. It's no joke, man. I get it. I can't believe what I just heard. And bullying is a serious matter, man. This is shocking.
Is it true? Is that real?
I don't know how many times I have to say that MJF is a national treasure and a guy is one of the saving graces and one of the few things to watch AEW, but the way the guy can turn a crowd and the way he goes about his message and what he wants to express and what he's trying to convey with everybody watching at home, it's just something that either you have it or you don't. And MJF is just on another stratosphere when it comes to promos and storytelling and all the stuff at wrestling. I can't be more positive than what everybody's already saying, so I don't want to repeat stuff. But again, I really enjoyed the promo, and I kind of relate to some of the stuff he was saying. That I admit I was kind of pissed off when Punk quit and he left in 2014. There was a period of time where I was upset. But I don't know if I was going to go the whole stand route like MJF did in the segment. That's why we used the song this week. But I wasn't going to go that far. But I kind of felt what he was saying there. And, him saying that he was dealing with his disorder and stuff and dealing with bullies and stuff in school. I dealt with bullies in elementary school. And MJF is fantastic, man. And obviously, take it with a grain of salt when it comes to his character and stuff. But, I just thought it was a good promo. And I don't know if they needed to go this route at this time as we're heading closer towards the pay-per-view. But, what he was saying at the end, I want to be the best in the world in spite of you. And you could do all this stuff to me in the dog collar match. It should be interesting. I just thought maybe you could have done this part of the promo a couple months ago when this feud actually started. But that's just me. There's a lot of things that go on with AEW that are mistimed and misplaced because, again, there's no filter there. Everybody can do what they want, and there's not a checks and balances person in AEW. As far as the other stuff in the show, for what it was, I thought the Bryan Danielson match with Daniel Garcia was okay. And I guess we start off with this. At what point do we stop considering AEW the young company, and at what part do we get to saying that where we stop using the 3 years of them being in existence as an excuse? Like, when does that stop? Because for me, that stopped a while ago, and the reason why that stopped because they did a lot of bloviating and a lot of pumping out their chest when they first started the company and the promotion and a lot of the interviews about how they're going to change the game and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. You watch AEW. Do you feel like it's sports-based wrestling? Do you feel like they're following through with what the actual wins and losses are in the power rankings? Do you see that? Do you think it's strict pro wrestling and no sports entertainment whatsoever? I find it funny, right? A lot of people go on soapboxes on podcasts about WWE putting more of an emphasis on the entertainment and the promos instead of the wrestling. Yet, it's the other, when you talk about AEW now, you hear people talk about, it's about character development, it's about storylines, it's about promos. I thought this is the wrestling company. I thought this is the company that was going to provide elite wrestling. You put your moniker of your organization called All Elite Wrestling. And every time somebody signs with AEW, they have the hashtag All Elite. And I look at that hashtag and I ask myself, what is All Elite about All Elite Wrestling? When you watch the wrestling matches, when you watch their wrestling show, is there anything about it that's elite to you or resembles elite quality of content outside of CM Punk and MJF and Bryan Danielson and maybe some other up and rising stars in their promotion? Can you say collectively that AEW offers elite style of professional wrestling or elite professional wrestling content? Can you tell me that? Or am I jumping the gun too soon because, it's a new company and, they only started 3 years ago? At what point do we actually apply some standards? I mean, everybody holds fucking WWE to the 5th degree and holds their feet to the fire and, everything WWE does is wrong, right? But nobody wants to point out the stuff that they don't do right with AEW. And that's what we do here on the Hoots Podcast. Myself and Bert Carter, we don't engage in hyperbole. We're going to tell you the stuff that Twitter and podcasts will not tell you because this show is not Teflon and its promotion is not Teflon. And it's kind of a slap in my face where I have to read this stupid shit on Twitter where people are saying that AEW is rewriting the book on professional wrestling because this is the flat out truth. You want to know what the hell is wrong with AEW? You watch their show, and you tell me what's different from AEW, from TNA, from 2008 or through that time period in the late 2000s. Can you tell me any difference when you watch their shows outside of Pockets and the Outlaw Mudshow freaks? Tell me what's different from AEW, from TNA. A lot of WWE guys, a lot of wrestling matches. Some guys get pushes, some people don't. Some get relegated to the YouTube shows or Explosion, as they used to call it back in the day. You watch their shows. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that you don't get TNA vibes when you watch AEW. I know a lot of people make the comparisons about WCW, but guess what? Cody Rhodes is not there anymore. He's not with AEW, so that stuff could go away. I don't look at AEW as WCW. Look at their numbers. Look at their business. At the end of the day, this is a bottom line business. It's about making money. And, all due respect to everybody that works there and everybody that gets on their knees and kisses their ass and wants Tony Khan to give them a job, I see right through all the shit that they promote. I do. Just like you do to WWE. Two can play the game, right? Here's the thing. I'm fair. I want the shows to be good. I put over the stuff that I do in the segment. That's why we do it. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to sit here and say something just so I can get more Twitter followers or get more likes and retweets for our podcast or more favorable reviews on Apple Podcasts. I don't give a shit if any of you guys disagree with what I have to say about AEW. I'm not going to come in here and tell you that I'm right or wrong. I'll leave it up to you. All this stuff's subjective, right? But there's other people that do stuff like this that pump out their chest every single week about, AEW is redefining the world of professional wrestling. They do it right. They got the proper blueprint. They're doing everything right? And I'm like, who are you fooling? Watch their show. So tell me why you need two fucking Mudshow's Battle Royals to do a triple threat match at the pay-per-view for the World Tag Team titles. Why is it on the day of the the second to last show to your upcoming pay-per-view? You have all your attention on social media is about this next big announcement from Tony Khan or the next mid-card guy from WWE signing to AEW. Now, again, I have no issues with WWE guys going to AEW, but my point when I bring it up is about what they said initially with their goals and what's happened since then. And they've gone back and everything you heard, all their promises, has been nothing but bill of goods. And I'm going to be the one to call it out because it's right in front of you, but you don't want to acknowledge it because it's a new wrestling company and evil bad WWE. So AEW is number one, right? I'm not going to talk about the Wrestling Observer Awards. I'm going to leave that to Bert Carter in the Thoughts of Dericho. So, again, here we go. We're 2 weeks out from Revolution, and everybody wants to talk about, Swerve Scott's in AEW. Oh, Buddy Matthews is in AEW. Oh, Cesaro's contract expired, so he's leaving WWE. Oh, he's going to be in AEW too. Of course Cesaro's going to be in AEW. I'm a fan of Cesaro. Good for him. Oh, Jeff Hardy's going to AEW. Wow. What difference is that going to make? It sounds familiar, right? Mr. Anderson, Kurt Angle, Christian, Booker T. The list goes on and on. Tell me that we're not reincarnating fucking TNA with better business people funding the shit. You tell me the difference from fucking Rick Moranis and Dixie Carter? Especially how they cut their promos at these live events too. So let's continue on with the Mudshow. Outside the NGF CM Punk segment, and it seems to be the only one they continue to hit on every single week. We have the House of Black against Pac in Pentagon Dark, a match that I saw a couple weeks ago in Chicago. Now, here's the thing, as we also mentioned here on the Hoots podcast, we talk about double standards. So what's the one thing everybody bitches about on WWE every single week? Oh, rematches, 50-50 booking, roll-up finishes. Oh, we had an awesome match. Here's the thing. Pac wins with a roll-up, and to deflect for that so they don't get the flack on Twitter, they cut out the lights because Tony Khan is such a fucking ECW mark. Gotta turn out the lights every single episode of Dynamite and Rampage. So out comes Buddy Matthews, and now he's with the House of Black. Awesome! I don't have a problem with that. But is it really game-changing? Is it really anything that's going to incentivize me and say, okay, that right there, that's AEW. That's the reason why I should watch it. Because I've watched people come from other promotions and be lost in the shuffle, and you're seeing it right now too. Not even just WWE guys. What's up with Jay Lethal? He has a match with Ricky Starks for the FTW title on Rampage. Barely shown on Dynamite. Not even having a chance to qualify for this gimmick-ass ladder match at the pay-per-view where we got to get the Sonic ring. You know, for me, I don't get the double standards in this realm, in this media realm that I'm in. I just don't get the double standards. So to avoid any criticism, let's pop in our next mid-card signing from WWE so we can deflect from our own problems. Again, what do I say every single week? Oh, AEW's got to drop their low. So the first hour of the show, you have the Young Fucks, you got FTR, you got the Dark Order, everybody and their mother tag teams. You got MJF and CM Punk, and you got a new debut, right? What incentive do I have to watch for the rest of the show? Ricky Starks and Preston Vance, a match that I can see at Elevation and Dark. By the way, if you want people to take your YouTube show seriously, why the fuck do you have the Chaos Project main eventing both Dark and Elevation this week? Please explain that to me. Now, here's a match that's made for Revolution on March 6th. It's Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. This is one of the other few things I like from Dynamite. Not from the influencer, but from Eddie Kingston. Let's play this.
We got the match. Great. But don't give me the Chris Jericho that did the Mimosa match. Don't give me the Chris Jericho that got pushed off a cage by MJF. Give me the Chris Jericho that was the first world champion in this company. Give me the Chris Jericho that bled buckets in Tennessee. Let me get the Chris Jericho that got respect from one of my heroes, Senru, and war, and wrestled out there. Give me the Chris Jericho that turned WCW upside down. Give me the Chris Jericho that your close friend Levesque hated. Give me that. Because if you don't, I'm gonna eat you alive.
Ed Keeks could try, man, and I'm a fan so if any of you listen to this is not a knock on you, bro. I'm a big fan of your work, but it's even to the point for me, I don't give a shit if Chris Jericho's on my TV or not. Guys, I don't care. Him fighting Eddie Kingston in the pay-per-view does absolutely nothing for me. Oh, the influencer is now saying that if Eddie Kingston beats him, he's going to show him the respect that Eddie wants. Awesome. Great. Riveting. Riveting television, pal. Jade Cargill retains against the Bunny. Next, Keith Lee is in the gimmick ladder match. The Sonic the Hedgehog ladder match coming up at Revolution. Look at this card, and then they close up the show with Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. Like I said, the match was decent, but this is all set up to announce a match that should have just been announced a couple weeks ago when I was there. Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. It'll be a fine match, but again, there's a lot of things formatting-wise on this company that needs to be fixed and soon. And lastly, it's certainly not least, hey, Tony Khan, man, I get it. You got all the money in the world and blah, 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 blah. But just from me to you, this is the professional wrestling business. This is not fucking Toys R Us. So let's put some emphasis on actually focusing on your current talent and stop trying to stockpile every big card free agent that's available for you and then stockpile them on Dark and Elevation every other 2-3 weeks or every other month. So on that note, that is what the hell is wrong with AEW this week. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and Bernard Carter this week for another stellar edition of the Hoots Podcast. As always, if you want to participate on episode 300 of the Hoots Podcast, all you have to do is send us a shout out or congratulations in the audio platform. MP3 is preferable. Send those MP3 files to thehootspodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to subscribe to the show. It comes to you free of charge every single Thursday. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Also, make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. And lastly, certainly not least, you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media. Follow Derek at Twitter at Derek Stoughton. Check out DerekStoughton.com as well. Also, if you want to hit me up at Instagram, it's at Joshie Lopez 94. That's JOSHIE Lopez 94 on Instagram. On that note, be the authentic product that is yourself, and always remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. We are 2 episodes away from episode 300. We get to 299 next week, and it's the big 300 after that. So the road to WrestleMania is going on right now. There's a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling. I'm Josh. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Right now, I'm going to pass it off to Bernard Carter for this week's edition of the Thoughts of Dericho. I'll talk to you guys next week. Yes, sir.
And now, the Thoughts of Dericho. Listen well, man.
Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the segment that doesn't take payments from wrestling companies and then tries to pass itself off as credible journalism. It is the Thoughts of Dericho, featuring the one, the only, Brother Carter. Alright, we're going to cover Elimination Chamber real quick, and then we're going to get into my rant of the week. And oh, do I have a rant. Oh boy. Okay, well, let's start with the reviewing of the Elimination Chamber. I thought this was a good event overall. I enjoyed it. There were some good things in there. There were some things I was like, okay, this is unnecessary, but let's get into it. Starting things off with the Universal Championship match was the right decision. Get it out of the way. We knew what was going to happen, so fine. Man, I love Roman Reigns and his entrance. It's the best entrance in the world right now, from the best pro wrestler in the world right now, with the best entrance theme in the world right now. Like, seriously, the gap between Roman Reigns and every other superstar, except maybe Brock Lesnar, but even though I think Reigns has surpassed Lesnar at this point, the gap between Reigns and everybody else in the world is so wide right now. Perhaps the widest it's been in the history of professional wrestling. Like, Reigns is on a whole other level, and nobody can touch him. It's just awesome. And that match with Goldberg was exactly what it needed to be. It gave Goldberg his moment in Saudi Arabia. Great. And it added to the legacy of our tribal chief. So, again, was the match the most technically sound thing in the world? No, but we knew it wasn't going to be. It was exactly what it needed to be. Fine. Man, Alexa Bliss is so good. She might be the most versatile performer in all of WWE. She can do anything and play any character. She can be like Twisted Bliss. She can be a Fiend. She can be whatever. And she can flip back and forth at a moment's notice during a match. So that was great. Great to see her back in the ring. I'm okay with Bianca Belair winning. It wasn't really surprising. I was hoping for Alexa Bliss to get the win, but I'm not really surprised. It's also very clear that WWE is positioning Bianca Belair to be one of the top women in WWE for many years to come. Okay, I have to admit, I didn't really like this whole one arm behind the back thing for Ronda Rousey. Why couldn't we have just had a regular tag match? You know, I get stipulations and whatever, but I just didn't think that was necessary. I just wanted to see a straight up tag match. But anyways, good effort from all ladies. You know, it definitely wasn't the greatest match in the world with Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, Sonya Deville, Naomi. It wasn't the greatest match in the world. It was fine. Nothing really special, and sets up some stuff for WrestleMania, which is going to be great. I am so happy for Madcap Moss. I am so happy for Madcap Moss. He's finally getting his opportunity to perform on a major stage, like at a major pay-per-view, at a WrestleMania-like pay-per-view. So I thought that was really, really, really cool. Great moment for him. Though there was a scary moment for him when he got dropped on his head. I was like, oh boy, like I got a little bit scared with him in his match with Drew McIntyre. But again, the match was okay. Nothing special. Clearly it's setting up McIntyre and Corbin at WrestleMania. You know, nothing special. It was fine. Same thing with the Becky Lynch Lita match. It was fine. Great to see Lita back in the ring. I think she hasn't, you know, for not having wrestled seriously in a long time. That was really cool, and she looks great. We knew that Becky Lynch was going to get the win. Another rub for her going forward as she adds to her legacy. So again, it was fine. You know, nothing revolutionary, but that's kind of the theme for me for Elimination Chamber was the matches were fine. Nothing over the top, except for the Women's Elimination Chamber match. I thought the Women's Elimination Chamber match was quite good. One of the best that's been in a while. But the rest of them, the matches were like, that's fine. Very nice. All right, the Men's Elimination Chamber match. Once we heard that Lashley wasn't coming back, it was obvious Brock Lesnar was going to get the win. I guess my only concern with Lesnar having the win is, what is Raw going to do for the next 6 weeks? Because Lesnar is essentially... I mean, yes, they're going to build to a little roadblock, you know, in the middle of March at Madison Square Garden, but they're not going to take the title off of Lesnar at that point. So, you know, what I just don't know what the purpose of Raw is going to be leading up into WrestleMania, because they're not fighting for a title. So, you know, what kind of feuds, unless they're going to bring in some celebrities, and I know they're doing that with Logan Paul, but I've heard rumors of Stone Cold Steve Austin giving a match with Kevin Owens. Okay, I guess. I just don't know what the focus on Raw is going to be without the WWE Championship leading up into the biggest show of the year. So that's my only concern with the title for title match. That being said, I like the action overall, but I wish that Seth Rollins, Riddle, and AJ Styles would have gotten more time with Brock Lesnar. You know, he just took them all out in pretty quick fashion. So I wish there would have been more time on that. That being said, WWE is all in on Austin Theory. And that's blatantly obvious. You know, his work with Vince McMahon, he got a few minutes with Lesnar. I mean, it's clear that they are positioning Austin Theory to be one of the next top guys and move him up. So, anyways, so again, Elimination Chamber was a nice event. And looking forward to seeing the road to WrestleMania. Okay, here we go. The Wrestling Observer newsletter released their awards recently. And at this point, the Wrestling Observer newsletter should basically just call itself the AEW. No, it really should just be considered the anti-WWE awards. We're going to give awards to everybody except WWE because Meltzer and Alvarez are on the freaking payroll. I mean, you can just even call it the AEW awards or the anti-WWE awards because it is clearly... If I will read some of these, and it is clear that this is not credible journalism, and I have no idea why the stupid marks of the internet wrestling community have decided that this is the gold standard for wrestling publications when it's considered a biased and completely paid off. They're completely a paid-off publication, and I have no idea why anybody would consider this credible journalism. It's not. I'm sorry, the Wrestling Observer newsletter is probably the least credible wrestling journal, a major wrestling journal. It is a major wrestling journal, let's be honest. It is a major dirt sheet. It is probably the number one, in terms of popularity, dirt sheet. Like, that's just kind of what it is. But there is nothing about this publication that is credible, and its readers give it no credibility at all. So let's get into this. Okay, Wrestler of the Year for for 2021 is Kenny Omega. Really? You're telling me Kenny Omega is better wrestler than Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Bryan Danielson? You're telling me that the total package overall is Kenny Omega? Really? A guy who cuts horrible promos, has a terrible look, is a good athlete, but his in-ring wrestling is fine. He's a spot monkey. He can't actually technically wrestle. You're telling me Kenny Omega is your Wrestler of the Year? I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. I mean, it's either if the last time a WWE person, I have the list here, won it was 2010. So in John Cena, but you're telling me that Omega is going to be your Wrestler of 2021 over Roman Reigns? Give me a freaking break. Okay, most outstanding wrestler. Let's see, Shingo Takagi. I don't know. I don't know about Shingo Takagi. I'd let Josh comment on that. But from New Japan Pro Wrestling, I don't know much about it, so I can't really comment. Let's see, Tag Team of the Year. I'll give you one guess. Yep, it's the Bucks of Youth. For the last 2 years in a row, they might as well just call that the Tag Team of the Year at this point. They might just call it the Young Bucks Award, because it's clear that they are completely biased in that. I mean, tag team wrestling is not what it once was, and I understand that. But again, like the Young Bucks, I don't want to watch the Young Bucks. They annoy the hell out of me. They are not good for television. Yet somehow they get Tag Team of the Year. Makes no sense. All right, Best on Interviews 2021, MJF. I actually can buy that. Again, I think it's a little biased. I would go with Paul Heyman. But if I could make a case for MJF, certainly, because MJF is what he has done. I have him as my second favorite wrestler in the world right now behind Roman Reigns. So I can actually buy MJF. That's fine. Promotion of the Year, All Elite Wrestling. I think you can just listen to our segment and know what we feel about that. But yeah, All Elite Wrestling is going to be, as long as it's in existence, is going to be Promotion of the Year, according to this paid-off dirt sheet. Really? Of all the crap that's on that show every week, that's your TV show of the year. I mean, again, I'm not surprised, but Best Weekly Television Show, Dynamite. Pro Wrestling Match of the Year, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers in a steel cage match at Chicago, Illinois, on September 5th. So again, what you're saying basically is that you care about spots more than you do about actually storytelling. That's what this publication and these fans think. They don't care about stories. They just want to see spots, and I don't care about that. I want to see a story. I'm more invested in that than I am in just seeing acrobatics do that stuff. If I do that, I can just, go watch a gymnast competition or something like that. I don't care. I don't care about these spot fests. And it's just ridiculous. MMA Match of the Year, I'll throw this in there, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. I actually remember that match. I had a chance to see it. It was badass. So props to them for that. That was correct. That was great. Okay, let's see. Gonna go through here. Best Box Office Draw, CM Punk. Yeah, I'll buy that. And in MMA, Conor McGregor. I'll buy that. That's fine. Feud of the Year, Kenny Omega versus Adam Page. I just laugh at that point. No, that's incorrect. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? There's nothing that has me invested in that. I'd take CM Punk and MJF over that. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for me was the feud of the year, but that's just me. But Kenny Omega, who I don't care about, and Adam Page, who's fine, I don't get it. I don't care. That's incorrect. Most improved, Ty Conti. Fine. I'll buy that. Ty Conti has gotten a lot better. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Most charismatic, CM Punk. Fine. I don't have a problem with that because although I don't like Punk personally, you can't deny his star power and what he brings to his promos every single week. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. The Bryan Danielson Award for Best Technical Wrestler, given to Bryan Danielson. Okay. The Bruiser Brody Memorial Award for the Best Brawler, Jon Moxley, a.k.a. wannabe garbage deathmatch bullshit. Fine. I mean, they're going to give Best Brawl of the Year to wannabe garbage deathmatch bullshit. That's what they should just rename the award. Wannabe Deathmatch Garbage Bullshit Award. Best Flying Wrestler, Rey Fenix. Shocking. Let's see. Most Overrated, Evil from New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know who that is. Most Underrated for the second year in a row is Ricochet. And I actually don't have a problem with that. I agree. I would love to see more from Ricochet. I think he's absolutely terrific. He doesn't get a lot of TV time, but when he does, boy, does he shine. So I wish they would give more to Ricochet. I agree with that. Rookie of the Year, Jade Cargill. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. I love Jade Cargill. Again, as I mentioned in What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, you give her some actual proper wrestling training, she could be a star. A mega star. Best non-wrestler, Paul Heyman. I like it. Okay. This right here is all you need to know about this publication. The best announcer in 2021 was fucking Excalibur. Excalibur was for the second year in a row. For the second year in a row, Excalibur is the best television announcer. They picked Excalibur over Pat McAfee, over Mauro Ranallo when he was doing stuff, over Corey Graves, over, Ross is a shell of himself. Shivani has basically become Mean Gene Okerlund. Excalibur. That's it. That's all you need to know about this publication. They picked Excalibur as the best announcer in pro wrestling. Really? That's all you need to know. And that right there is all you need to know about how this publication has absolutely zero credibility. Worst television announcer, Corey Graves. Go to hell, Wrestling Observer fans. You all are clearly smoking crack. Best pro wrestling show, All Out. Worst major wrestling show, WWE Survivor Series. Again, you just may as well call this the anti-WWE awards. Or, if AEW was the number one promotion in the world, everybody would jump on WWE. And everybody would say WWE is the best. All they want to do is take down number one. They don't give a shit about what is good. Best wrestling maneuver, the buckshot lariat. I agree with that. I love the buckshot lariat. It's awesome. Most disgusting promotional tactic. Firing people during a global pandemic while still setting profit records. This is a business, folks. This is a business. Worst television show for the 8th year in a row, Monday Night Raw. Worst match of the year. The Miz versus Damian Priest in a lumberjack match at the WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I agree that was not a good match with the zombies and stuff. I didn't like it either. And if you want to give that that match, fine. But you have to remember, we were in a global pandemic. WWE was trying to be creative. You're telling me that was worse than some of the crap that AEW was doing? Again, now, and I'm not defending the Miz Damian Priest lumberjack match with the zombies. I didn't like it either, honestly. I didn't like it either. And I could make an argument for this being the worst match of the year. I just don't have a problem. Sort of don't have a problem with that. But we're in the midst of a global pandemic and we're in the Thunderdome. WWE had to try to do something. Worst feud of the year, Randy Orton versus the Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Fine. Maybe. I don't know. It wasn't the best, but worst promotion for the 4th year in a row, WWE. Well, guess where all the money is, pal? For the second straight year in a row, the best booker of the year, Tony freaking Khan. The guy who has his daddy's checkbook, signs a ton of wrestlers and gives them off into obscurity, has no storylines worth watching in his television program, does spots over and over all the time, gives me no reason to stay engaged, and yet somehow is booker of the year. Again, further proof that this is a rigged, disastrous publication that is biased and takes payoffs from Tony Khan because he wants to pat himself on the back and cares more about, oh, look how many Wrestling Observer Awards we won and Pro Wrestling Illustrated Awards. They care more about putting themselves over and patting themselves on the back than they are about making money and actually putting on a decent television program. Which is why this company is going to be out of business in 5 years, 10 years. Because the money is going to run out. And eventually people are going to go, okay, we got it. Yay, you're doing these things. Great. What's going to happen when the smart marks finally go away? Well, they probably won't because they have nothing better to do with their lives than be invested in this crap and relive the Attitude Era from 20 years ago. What happens when those smart marks finally go away and there are kids who have been WWE fans because WWE markets themselves to a wider audience and those WWE fans are with them in 40 years and couldn't give two shits about AEW? What's going to happen then? Then the next promotion is going to come along and try to do the same thing, and it's going to fail because they're not going to learn from All Elite Wrestling. But everyone's going to everyone's going to build them up as this greatest wrestling promotion because it's anti-WWE. That's the only reason this exists, is because it's anti-freaking WWE. Tony Khan, Promoter of the Year and Booker of the Year. Okay, finally they got it right. Gimmick of the Year, Roman Reigns. No question about that. Absolutely. He's our tribal chief. Worst gimmick of the year, Alexa Bliss. Incorrect. The worst gimmick of the year is the Acclaimed. That is by far the worst gimmick of the year, is the Acclaimed and Orange Cassidy. Sure as hell ain't Alexa Bliss when she was with The Fiend. That shit was awesome. Best Pro Wrestling Book, Mox by John Moxley. Don't know, haven't read it. Best Pro Wrestling and Streaming Documentary, Dark Side of the Ring, Brian Pillman. Didn't see it, but I probably should. So there's your awards, folks. How in the world does Dave Meltzer, Brian Alvarez, and the shitty people at the Wrestling Observer newsletter actually still have a job? And how can anybody actually consider this a credible publication? It's complete bullshit. And those are the thoughts of Dericho this week. Longer than usual, but it needed to be said. My final thoughts for the week is, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. We are certainly standing by the people of Ukraine as they're going through this. And this pro wrestling stuff, we're just trying to have fun, trying to give people an escape. Yes, we're passionate about it. Yes, we care about it. That's why we do this podcast every week. But there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. And so we just remember that this is just an escape. Try to have some fun with this. We're supporting the people of Ukraine. We pray for the people of Ukraine. And we just hope that some relief can come to this very soon and that we can avoid a World War III. Support your fellow person, love your fellow person, and let's all come together for the human race to stay united as one.
This has been The Thoughts of Dericho. You're smarter now, man.